and a lot of people ended up actually getting Apple Plus over the last month. It's a story I've been following very closely, is the addition of Lionel Messi to Inter Miami and how many people that then puts to Apple Plus, which streams MLS for the first time over the last 2 years now. 110,000 new signups on July 21st when Lionel Messi played his first game for Inter Miami. You can see there up 280% versus the first day of the season. And there were 6,000 signups the day before, guys. 110,000 signups on the first day he played. Just interesting to see this get an actual number. We know there's been a lot of excitement. We've talked about the potential impact. But for Apple to actually gain that many people onto the platform, then maybe they like something else. You actually keep them on the platform. Interesting to see maybe that investment paying off. I
was going to say if they can keep them, right? We talk so much about subscriber churn, how much people are paying on a month-to-month basis. There was a recent journal report saying that people are expected to pay about 25% more this year in their streaming service than they did even just a year ago. So yes, this is an impressive number. You would think at least at the start that this is a massive win for Apple Plus, considering that they decided to go for one of those cheaper options getting into live sports compared to some of their rivals within this space. But whether or not people stay and whether or not Apple's going to be able to charge maybe a little bit more in the coming years is the big question here.
Yeah, when you talk about churn, which is consumers ditching their streaming plans, one thing that can help with that is live sports. Is live news. That's why we're seeing Warner Brothers Discovery lean into CNN Plus, Disney taking ESPN fully over the top as a direct-to-consumer streaming service. Sports and news creates a stickiness on the platform that analysts say will cause people to stick with their plans more, rather than a Netflix, for example. You watch the new season of Stranger Things, you're not interested in anything else. Well, I'm going to turn that off and maybe subscribe down the line when there's something that interests me. You could argue that you could do the same thing with sports. Once your season ends, once the playoffs are done, maybe I have no use for that. But I do think the price point is interesting, which you brought up too. Very cheap price point. ESPN Plus already talking about pricing between $20 to $30 once they bring that fully over-the-top platform to market, which should happen 2024, 2025. So I think pricing will be a big
factor there.
Apple
can keep that price relatively low, too, you would think, because they only paid $250 million a year for MLS, which I say only, but that's significantly lower than saying paying $1 billion for one NFL game.
And it's not their main driver of the company.
I mean, they didn't think the MLS was going to get messy when they made this deal either. Talk about a little bit of luck. I think that's helped them out here. This is a pretty big tailwind for them to have.
It is, and I also wonder whether or not Apple's also reevaluating or evaluating further kind of their position right now within live sports. They certainly have been more conservative going after the MLS. Talks that obviously they have very, very deep pockets. They could afford to strike one of these larger deals with the more popular league. So whether or not maybe they're seeing this pay off, and if they're now saying that, hey, sports make a heck of a lot of sense. If we want a bigger presence in streaming, if we want Apple TV Plus to grow by X amount, then live sports may be the key in doing so. So I don't know. It could be exciting things ahead for them.